So, good morning. For this presentation today, I chose a number of Tibetan, Nepalese, Chinese, and from the Himalayas, gilt bronzes, Buddhist bronzes, of course, that are all in our auction, which is coming up on October 16. There's quite a few more. There are very good ones that are not part of the presentations, but in the auction. But I chose them because they create such a nice display, to be honest, as you can see it here. And I think the first thing that jumps to the eye is that they all have different gildings. So they're all from with a different background, different periods, and so they are cast in a different way, they have different inlays, and they are gilt in a different way. And that's what we're going to have a quick look at. Yeah. So the first one I have here is pretty big and it's a heavy cast, and we have it here in the catalog as lot 14, and it's 14th to early 15th century. It's Tibetan, of course, and it's from the Yonang lineage, and it's quite characteristic because they have this throne where you have these elephants here, and then they have very fine inlays, which I think are mostly original. There is a few missing, which can be replaced, yeah. It's made in one piece, but cast in two pieces, but you can't remove this one. We have made some x-rays. There are things in there, but we can't identify them. You can only do it with a CT. It has original sealing here, with the incised double vajra, of course. And then it has very, very nice lacquer painting here to the face, which we will see is the only one from this group that has it. Yeah, very nice. It compares very well with pieces from the Zamtang Sangwa monastery, because there's also interesting auction result comparisons which take it way above 100,000 euros. It starts at 15,000, which I think is a real steal for this piece, which is in a 100% original condition. The next one we're going to look at is on the next page, slot 15. This is an exceptional beauty. It's from the Ellen Presencer collection, and before it was with Peter Fussell in London already back in 1973. It was at Bonham's Hong Kong for 43,000 euros. We have it now on our sale. We start at 5,000. Again, I think it's a fair value. It's an exceptionally nice depiction of Vajradhara. You see here the crossed hands, and of course the nice incision works at the hems and the folds of the garment, the double lotus with the strong beads here, and again neat inlays, very, very fine quality. His head is slightly tilted or pinching to the left side, which gives this figure a strong meditative character, which I find personally really appealing. Again, you have here, it's originally sealed. This is Tibet, 15th century. And we quickly move to the next piece, which is maybe a bit similar at first sight, but when you look closer, you realize that this is Nepali, not Tibetan. It's Mala, 15th century, maybe even a bit earlier. It has this exceptional Mala or Nevari gilding, which is more yellowish compared to the others. As you can see, this is more copperish, and this is more brassy. Yeah, so very different ways of gilding. The Nevaris love their inlay, so they put a lot of turquoise, maybe even lapis and coral inlays to this piece, some missing, but still very nice, and overall in spectacular condition. This came from color auctions in 1974, so it has already documented an old provenance. Of course, again, compares favorably with pieces sold for 95,000, 120,000 euros. Literally same size, 21 centimeters. This has also 20.5, the other 23 centimeters. So this is the same group. It sells for a lot of money. We put it at 10,000, which I think, again, quite reasonably priced. Maybe the ceiling is not original. It's hard to say. It's very old. That much is sure. And I think we can move to the next piece, which is lot number 17. Yes, this one was also with color at some point in time, in not too long ago, in 2017. It sold for 43,000 euros back in the day. We started at 10,000, much lower, of course. And this is Tibet. It's later than this one or this one because it's 16th, maybe even early 17th century. Yeah, it's a sophisticated cast with this multi-tiered pointed lotus base with beading here, beading at the base, beading all along the way, the hems, the earrings. So there's a lot of decoration that you don't have that much and in that density always on earlier pieces. Yeah. Also, the inlay is significant. There is coral, there is turquoise, there's a lot of it in the crown. Here, of course, the figure holds the Vajra. It's Akshobhya, and it comes in really good condition. There is a slight bend here at the top of the crown, but otherwise it's really good. And here it has the original ceiling with a pretty prominent incised Vajra symbol. So again, quite powerful, and with the color provenance, you can never go wrong. So this is crystal clear. And we move on to the next piece of our little group here. Continue with lot number 30 first. This is a 16th century Maitreya from Tibet. This is a much smaller figure, you can see, than the others. But it is incredibly fine. And this makes this one a real gem. It has inlays on the front and on the back side, which is always good. It's turquoise and it's lapis, and there's really a lot of inlays. I didn't count, it was probably like 30, 40 stones, something like that. Nicely incised here and here on the hems. The beading here incredibly fine, and the face gentle, meditative, calm. So there is a contrast between all this ornamentation and the actual figure, and I find that quite fascinating. Nice ceiling also here. One more thing, it has a lot of wear from worshipping, but the gilding is still very good. It has a little coppery finish over here, and it does well within this group. Yeah, clearly 16th century, and compares with similarly strong ornamentation figures from the same period. From Tibet, one I have here at 36,000 euros, which has 19 centimeters. This one has 14, so it's a bit smaller, but the size is not the only thing that matters. In this one, I invite you to study the detail images. It's incredibly fine. I'm lot number 26, and this is later. This is Qianlong, it's Tibetan Chinese, so it's mid-18th century, and it's Rolpai Dorje, which was an important figure, is the third Changi Ahutuku. It was, again, from the Presenza collection and with William Oley before that, and was also at Bonhams for 18,000 euros at the time. Compares well with other similar examples from Rolpai Dorje, which was sold one here at 17,000 euros. And the weight of this is 1.5 kilograms for such a small figure, so it's quite heavily cast, which is typically for the imperial bronze casting of the Qianlong period, which was made as tributes to the Tibetan royalty and Tibetan monks and Tibetan religious personalities that were at the imperial court in the 18th century in Beijing at the time. Yes, essentially you can distinguish these because they have very fine incision work, and they always have two-color gilding, which is here like the main classic yellow Chinese gilt, and then here the face has a different gilding, which gives it more character and expression. Quite a spectacular piece. We started at only 2,400 euro, and as I said, it was at Bonhams for 18,000, so I think it's a good chance to acquire a serious work of art. And the last one from this group here, this little one here, will make an extra video for him. I don't know why he ended up here, but he's very nice, but he doesn't belong into this group. So we'll talk about him in a minute. And I have this one here, which is, I think, lot number 32 in the upcoming sale. Yes, there it is. And this is Vajrapani, of course. You can recognize him by this huge Vajra he's holding here. Yeah. It's a much larger figure than the ones down here. Very impressive, very heavy cast in two pieces. The base is separate from the main piece, and he has this snake here and the snake earrings and a prominent crown and lots of other nicely incised details all the way along to this tiger fur, which he's wearing, and you can also see that actually on the back side. Here it is, yeah, typical for Vajrapani, and the base has also the double lotus and the beading at the lower end. A massive cast. This was at Nagel in Stuttgart almost 30 years ago in 1998, and it sold for roughly 15,000 euros back then already. We started now at 3,000, so again, I think it's quite a steal. 16th to 17th century, of course published, and I mean, Vajrapanis of this size sell for a lot of money. There's one comparison here for a much smaller one, 14 centimeters, so that would be about this size here, and that sold already for 23,000 euros at Bonhams. So you get the idea. I think this piece is worth going for. And so we have completed our little session here with some gilt figures. As I said in the beginning, there's more in the catalog. It's really worth studying. And yes, if you want to bid on any of these at the upcoming auctions, I wish you the best of luck, good luck in bidding, and goodbye.